what's going on, bro?
Hey, we're twins, right? We got the same colors on,
right? Yeah, we do.
right?
Today we're gonna learn all about you and what you about, so I'm excited about it.
Okay.
And thank you for coming on Kera Dangerous Talk, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to do is just sit back and relax. I'm gonna give you your flowers.
Mm.
Just real short and sweet. I've known you for a while. I know you've been on your grind, hustling with the music for a long, long time. So
Yeah.
I just wanna, my fake hat here. I'm tipping it off, saluting it to you for keeping up with yourself and just never stopping that grind, brother. I've been seeing your growth throughout the years. So
Sure.
that's real dope.
For sure. Nah, it's cool. It's cool. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for even paying attention. You know what I'm saying? For even having that much insight on how the grind has been and how long it's been. All the work we put in. I appreciate
How long? Oh, no doubt. How long exactly have you been in the game working on your craft?
it. I signed my first deal with Warner in like 2006, but I didn't release any music on the May like 2009. So I spent like 3 years kind of like an internship, just learning the business, moving around, doing tours, and getting involved that way, and just seeing how the game go. And I didn't release my project in 2009, But even then, I felt like it wasn't a real reflection of the kind of music I wanted to make. You know what I'm saying? The machine that we was a part of, they had a certain niche market that they catered their artists and the things that they pushed to. My music didn't fit that mold. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's funny because I learned from watching other major artists. Like I listened, like what happened to RZA, what happened to Mobb Deep, and what happened to certain artists where they get their first opportunity to come out and it's not quite the right fit for the label, their brand, that is, and then they come back and then they do it their way and then they capture the audience. I like to think of myself in that same kind of way. You know what I'm saying? I was moving
Absolutely.
Around drama and gangster grills and everything. And that was a monumental movement by far, no doubt about it. Monumental movement, but that really wasn't the lane for the type of music that I make, So I took control and took ownership of what it is I do and came back a lot stronger and, made my way,
Yes, I just want to go back to that. So you made your music debut as a founding member of the Affiliates, working with DJ Drama and Don Cannon.
Yeah.
Now, when I was in high school in the early 2000s, DJ Drama was like the man all over the street. He helped put T.I. out.
Yeah.
What was it? How did that whole situation get started when you was working with DJ Drama and Don Cannon?
Just moving around, moving to Atlanta to go to college. And, Don Cannon is a close friend of mine before the music. You know what I'm saying? Really close friend. And we just came together and made it happen from there.
What did you learn from that situation? Because they were real hot in the streets. Like, I know you had to kind of, something had to rub off on you.
My introduction to the music business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My humble beginnings in the music business came from that. You know what I'm saying? So I learned, that was my introduction to the business. So I learned a lot from that, Made some money, did some tours, made history,
Absolutely. Now, I know that you're from Grand Rapids, Michigan, correct?
That's correct.
And I had TV host and writer Jamel Hill on the show recently, and she's from Detroit. And she said in Detroit, there's a mentality of Detroit versus everybody, us against everybody. So, we don't know a lot about Grand Rapids. What's the mentality of coming from there? Tell us a little bit about your beginnings back in Michigan.
Oh, Grand Rapids, you got to find your way, man. It's the second biggest city in Michigan, but it's the it made the Forbes list as the #1 city for the worst economy and opportunity for African Americans. So, from our experience, we got to make our way, man. I respect Detroit, the Detroit against everybody mentality, because that's the mentality you got to have coming out of Michigan. Michigan is a blue-collar state. It's a hard-working, roll your sleeves up, get to it. It's an industrial state with a lot of industrial towns, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of hard-working people. All we know is to get up and go to work. That's all we know how to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, provide our own way. There's not a lot of outlets just laying for us right there in Michigan. They say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. I feel the same way about Michigan. If you can make it out of Michigan, you can make it anywhere, So Grand Rapids is no different. Work hard,
So you actually, a lot of people may not know this, but you have a brother that's a rapper in the music industry, L.A. Darkman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to have two people in your family that, had some success, did you guys start off together rapping, or like, what's your relationship with your bro?
Now, I was a kid when he got his record deal. He paved his own way and linked up with Wu-Tang and, you know, and put out a classic album and did really well for himself. I was a kid the whole time, man. I was like in 6th grade, 7th grade. So I don't, you know, I was just excited to see him doing his thing with the Wu. I was a big Wu fan. It was good to see him doing his thing. But, you know, when I got old enough to do my own thing, then, you know, I put my own place together in Atlanta, and I brought him to what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So me and Cannon was getting busy, Drum was getting busy, and I just told him, yo, I got a thing going in Atlanta. Come and rock with me. You know what I'm saying? So he came and rocked with me, and we did our thing from there.
So when I listen to your music, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, I kind of got like a 2-part question.
Yeah.
Your music sounds like old New York to me. Like when I listen to it, you're very poetic. Like sometimes it don't even feel like you start rapping. You know, how some rappers give a pause. It just seems like you just spitting straight through. Like, did you get the influence from New York, or is that more of Detroit? Just kind of has that same type of sound?
Influence from good music. I got influence. I don't want to say it's, you know, it's geography. It had, you know, ain't nothing to do about where it was from, but more so about just I guess the era. You know, when I grew up, it was about Nas and Jay and Big. It was about those people. It was about Wu-Tang and Mobb Deep and Tribe Called Quest. It was about that in my neighborhood. Snoop and Dre and Outkast. You know what I'm saying? It was about those artists. So I'm just inspired by the era in which I grew up. I read a study not too recently. It's a journal entry, and it said the music that you were attracted to, that you admired when you were 15 to 22, I think, is the music that inspires you for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? So those were the soundtracks of my life at the time: the Nas's and the J's and the Biggies and the Outcasts and Snoops and Dr. Dre's. You know, so yeah.
That's dope, and because I love that music as well. Is definitely, you know, a part of me that was molded by that great music that was coming out of New York at that time. So you moved down to Atlanta to go to school. Did you go to school for anything that had anything to do with music?
Yeah. I went to school for communications, but in the department there was, you know, radio, TV, film. You know, a lot of guys were doing things today in the music industry and in the film industry. They all went to Clark as well. So yeah, it was definitely something to do with music. But I didn't go there to do music. You know, I went there to get an education and exposure to the entertainment industry that way. But you know, I didn't go to school.
That's different, yo. What made you wanna? I mean, like you could have chose a lot of other avenues. You could have been out there selling drugs, you know, doing whatever. Like, what was it about? Like, was it somebody in your life that made you want to go to school? I mean, did you just find it important?
My family, you know, my mother, my father, my brother, everybody in my life, you know. I'm like, yo, you know, like, you're somebody that's gonna go off and do great things. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody sells drugs because they want to. I think it's because they have to. You know what I'm saying? So I could have took that route, but everybody around me was doing that. All my cousins and, you know what I mean, my friends, everybody was playing in that space. I didn't have to, so I didn't. You know what I'm saying? But I could have easily just did it that way. You know what I'm saying? I knew there was much more to it. Somebody got to be the person to bridge a different gap. You know what I mean? To pave a different road for us. You know what I'm saying? That person has to be me, you know? Somebody got to do something different.
You know, I'm always glad to hear people going to school, because I just like to let the public know there are different avenues for you to do, and that everybody's not out here selling drugs. Everybody not out here pushing that agenda. So that's why I'm so glad to see somebody like you has been grinding for so long.
Respect to everybody. Everybody got to get it how they got to get it. You know what I'm saying? Respect to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good.
That's true. People do got to get it how they got to get it, but at the same time, we don't want to push the drugs on our own people. You know, I on this show, I just try to push that, you know, for us black people especially. You know, there's more than one ways to get it.
I agree. Totally agree.
So you living in Atlanta, that's where all the music is popping right now. Has that helped you, that move? Do you think, you know, being there in that environment?
Yeah, that's where I found my way. You know, down here in Atlanta. You know, that's where I signed my record deal from things I did here in Atlanta. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the wave. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's waves everywhere. It's just about what works for you. You know what I'm saying? You can do your thing out of Atlanta. You can do your thing out of New York, LA, wherever. You know.
Well, now that the music is kind of just more popping in Atlanta, do you miss when New York was the mecca of hip hop, or does it not matter to you?
Like, no, New York is still a mecca. All the record labels are in New York.
Okay.
All the guys in Atlanta who doing their thing, they either got their deal out of LA or New York. You know, New York is still a mecca. LA is still a mecca. That hasn't changed. It's just the artists you see out in front of you. You know what I'm saying? They vary. You know what I'm saying? For every major artist from New York, there's 2 or 3 major artists from Atlanta, but there's one from LA too. There's one from Chicago too. Like, you know, everybody's active. I don't think the game is dominated by region anymore. That's an old school type of thing. Right now, everybody's getting busy. You know what I'm saying? Look at Drake. He's from Toronto. You know what I'm saying? And they got a big song going on right now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's a lot of people out here that say that, you know, a lot of the New York rappers are sounding Southern. Do you not agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that, because look at Dirk. Dirk is from Chicago, and him and Drake got a big record right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. That's Chicago and Toronto. You can't say that's from the South. That's them just contributing to the culture. But then you got like Lil Baby. I love Lil Baby. I said Atlanta, he killing it. Savage and Metro Boomin just dropped, killing it. Future's probably my favorite rapper. That's Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? But then, like, you got to understand, it's culture now. It's not geography no more. You know what I'm saying? It ain't New York, LA, Atlanta, Memphis. It's culture. Are you active? You know what I'm saying? Because you got a money bag. Yo, that's Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Then you got a Willie the Kid. That's Grand Rapids. You got a Rock Marcy. That's Long Island, New York. Like, you know, like, it varies. You know what I'm saying? 42 Doug. You know, that's Detroit. Everybody is active right now. So you can't really do the geography thing no more. I don't believe in that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you. I guess from my point of view, I can hear some of the New York rappers, and it seemed like, and you know, it used to be a time where people just stayed true to whatever their style was in their region, but it seems like they kind of taking a little bit of that Southern feel and putting it into their music.
Yeah.
But
I'm telling you, I don't subscribe that to Southern anymore. I think that's just culture. That's what music sounds like. That's what young black music sounds like. Now, if you wanna split hairs and say that's Southern, okay, I'm not gonna argue that. But you do know there's a tone in music right now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it just goes back to that thing I grew up on. You know, it's this rivalry between East Coast and Southern rappers.
I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that, and I would suggest you don't do that either, man. That's
really
bad. That's bad for the culture. The South versus the North, all that. That's bad for the culture, man. I wouldn't do that. We're all black people. We're all black people. We're all black artists trying to make our way into the business. I wouldn't get into the New York versus Atlanta, West Coast versus down south. I wouldn't do that. That's bad for the culture. I wouldn't do that. Good music is good music. Young black people making money for their art. That's what it's all about, you know?
Well, yeah. No, I'm not trying to say I subscribe to it, but I feel like, you know, when New York was taking over the music, you know, they gave the South so much hell. And then so, like, when we try to say things now, people want to say, oh, well, don't look at it like this and don't look at it like that.
I don't agree
with that.
You don't
hold up now. Come on. You don't think people used to get a South hell saying we ain't had no good rappers and all that? Come on now.
I don't agree with that. I must have missed that. You know what I mean? Because I'm from the Midwest. So how I grew up, we listened to Spice One from the Bay. You know what I'm saying? And we listened to Boot Camp Click from Brooklyn. And we listened to MJG and 8Ball from Memphis. And we listened to, you know what I mean? So I never subscribed or heard anybody or jumped down to anything. This person ain't good enough. That's not a good artist, or giving anybody hell. I never seen anything like that. Now I know people get real territorial. You know, people say that right now. People in New York say that right now about Atlanta. Atlanta say that right now about New York. But that was nothing I thought was real. I thought everybody was nice. You know what I mean? I appreciate Scarface as much as I appreciated Nas. It was all the same to me. Good music is good music. You know.
No, I totally agree with you, and I wish everybody at the time felt like that. But I can tell you, as a person who's from the South, very Southern, you know, we used to get a lot of hate down in the South, and I know a lot of people agree with me. But I'm glad to know that you didn't
Nah,
think like
man.
That.
I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice to sit here and highlight all of the differences between everybody. And the time somebody from New York said somebody from LA wasn't this and that, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we got into that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't recommend that be the way we process this music thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I wouldn't focus on that. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, I definitely
wouldn't focus on that.
Well, let's do this. There's a couple of things I want to make sure I hit on, but let's get on your album that you just released, Capital Gains.
Oh yeah, Capital Gains, right? Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Capital Gains, right?
Yeah, Capital Gains. So you got some heat on there, my brother. Definitely got some
I
heat on there.
appreciate
I've been
you.
checking it out. Oh
I
yeah, for
appreciate
sure. So, and one of my favorite songs, Egregious. One like that's one of my favorite songs. Is that your single?
No, I'm laughing at you because you just got to saying all this down south, New York, all this stuff, and then you like egregious.
What you mean? What you mean?
Kind of proving my point. You got a strong southern accent, and you like a song like egregious that definitely sound like quote unquote up north music. You proving my point. It's not geography no more. It's black people, young people, good people, talented people making good music, and that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
on the
but you
same
ain't
page.
you not listening to me then, brother. Because I said I grew up loving a lot more New York rappers. I mean, my friend
I'm,
will tell you that. But
mm-hmm. I'm
because
tipping my hat to.
I was on the scene as well, growing up, doing my raps and stuff. I rap too, and people would give
Yeah.
Southern rappers hell. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
lying if you're gonna sit here and say you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm not
I said
saying I felt that way.
I never did it. Yeah, I never did that. But nah, I'm just we're on the same page though. Is what I'm saying we agree with each other. Is what I'm saying. You know, we're on the same page.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
people always used to be like, well, they got Outkast. That's the only good rap group from there. But
Nah,
anyway,
but yeah,
back to your.
egregious. I appreciate you. Yeah, for checking out egregious. Yeah, for sure.
Well, look, I gotta ask you about a line on that song, and I want you to tell me what did you mean by it? Because it just stuck out to me, and I just been repeating it in my head. In
Yes, ma'am.
Egregious, you say, if you live by the cheers, then you die by the booze.
Wow.
If you live by the cheers, then you die by the booze. What do you
Yeah.
mean by that, bro?
Uh. Well, you know, if you are somebody that lives, when I say lives, I mean depend, right? Your lifeline is praise, your lifeline is acknowledgement, your lifeline is approval, your lifeline is acceptance and things like that. If that's what you depend upon, that's what fuels your motivation and fuels, you know, your state of well being. That's a vulnerability, you know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, if you don't get those things, you get the booze instead, then you
Mm-hmm.
die. You know what I'm saying? You die inside. You die with your motivation. You die with your inspiration. Everything dies. But it's a slick line because cheers is also like a drink, like booze, like cheers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then booze. So it's a double entendre. But I do that shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? I may say a certain line and then I mean something else by it. You could take it 1,000 different ways. That's why I encourage everybody to play Capital Gains because if you heard it once, you haven't heard the whole album. If you heard it twice,
Mm-hmm.
you haven't heard the whole album. If you sat through that album 3 times, you haven't heard the whole album. If you sit through that album 6 times, you still haven't heard the whole album. It's so layered. There's so many different metaphors and similes and references and entendres and things that you can take from that album. It'll probably still be new 2 years from now. I promise you that. I promise you. I promise you. But that's one example, one of the more standout examples where I'm saying something that has 2 different meanings, and both meanings are valid. You know, and there's merit to what I'm saying. So yeah, that's a good line to pick out. Absolutely.
Yes, and another line that I like is when you said that you never shuck and jive for no money. The fast life ends abruptly. So,
Yeah, for sure.
so what are you saying by that? You got certain things that you're not willing to do in this industry.
Of
What were
course.
you thinking about?
I hope everybody got certain things they're not willing to do in any industry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, that's a simple concept. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things you got to draw the line, and tell yourself that you would never put yourself through that type of situation. You would never compromise your integrity. You know what I'm saying? For a check, because it's all about getting money. That's what it's all about. End of the day, I don't care what nobody tell you. But what are your what are your boundaries? You know what I'm saying? What are your guidelines? What are you subscribing to that keeps you from overdoing it for the sake of what the objective is?
Now, another one of my songs that I like on your album is called Perceptions. And you have to pronounce your feature's name because I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, Tech Togo, my brother Tech. Yes, sir, Tech Togo. He's also the
Yes.
guy that shoots damn near all my videos, all the trailers, all of the visuals you see, like all the crazy shit. he's the guy behind the camera too. So he do beats, he rap, and he behind the camera. So I make sure everybody has to hear his rhymes on that. Tech Toga, shout out to my boy Tech.
Yeah, that's dope. And I'm about to rap or just say one of the a piece of the verse that I really like in that song. And after I say it, I want you to just give us some words about it. Okay, so
Yeah.
in perceptions you say, and I don't normally say the N word, but I'm gonna say it because you wrote it in this verse, and I just want to tell people that I don't put the N word in my songs just for my own reasons, but for the sake of me quoting him quote for quote, I will be using it now. Okay, so here it goes. Perceptions. Last year, I told y'all everything this year was bound to happen. This nigga asked, was I still rapping? I told him better than ever. Plus, I own the only black-owned business downtown in my hometown, plus a plethora of other things. It's funny what the money brings. Shit done changed. Look at me, king. I'm talking business, empowerment, helping people, equity, changing the whole narrative, imperative. My objective is ownership. That donkey in a carrot shit is over with.
Yeah, flat deep. Flat out. Flat out.
I like that. I hope I did all right for that.
Nah, you did all right. You carried it well, flat out. Yeah, it's all facts. It's all facts. I mean, you know what I mean? What more can I say? That was pretty direct. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like when I was listening to your album, it's like you really telling us what you're doing. So I want to know, is that true? Do you own the only black owned business downtown in your hometown?
Absolutely true. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely true. Yeah, there was a time where I think for 18 years there was no black owned businesses in downtown Grand Rapids, and when we broke ground and started building our bar, which we built from the ground up, that was a dead space that we we did. We gutted it out and did construction from the wiring to the plumbing to the aesthetics to everything. We brought life to a dead space that's been there dead for about 10 years, but prior to that, it's been like 18 years with no black-owned businesses, and we kind of broke the mold and broke the ice on putting black ownership downtown in my town. So that ain't no cap. That's not no fly rap lyric. I really did that. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact.
Oh.
Actual. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, absolutely.
What kind of business is it?
It's a cocktail lounge. It's called Ambiance GR. Full kitchen, full bar, dance floor, DJ space, you know what I'm saying? Happy hour, the whole lot, you know. Venue space at night, you know. VIP sections, the whole thing, you know, upscale. If you go to my Instagram, the Willie The Kid, you can see what's going on right now. We try to keep everybody updated, and you can follow Ambiance GR. You can follow the page for the lounge as well.
So how did you get your business smart? Because I hear it all in your music. You talk about, it's called Capital Gains, the album, first of all. It's all about, you know, finances and things like that. If people been watching your movement on your pages, but like, where did you learn it from? Because sometimes people don't go to school for business, and some people just have that talent. Like, where did you get your business acumen from?
It was all about that. Like you were saying earlier, right? Some people choose different routes to make a living. Like I already chose a route to go in this direction. Like, you know, I wasn't gonna be just some guy who got caught up in what's going on in my neighborhood, but I also wasn't gonna be some dumb artist either. You know what I'm saying? So my whole objective was to go and do these things and take the capital, you know, no pun intended, take the capital gains that I made and invested into owning things, invested into empowering people and empowering situations. So this is all in the plan. I'm not doing anything that I didn't plan back when I was in 8th grade. This is all a part of the plan. Every bit of it, you know. I can say that with pride, you know. I planned all of this shit to be this way.
Oh, that is so awesome. And you also invest in like different tech companies and things like that, don't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're launching the app. It's a digital streaming platform. It's called Radiator. It's kind of like Spotify meets Google Maps. So what we're doing is we're targeting independent artists, and we're giving them a platform on a DSP that prioritizes artists who are truly independent. So if you're an artist and you're coming out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, let's just say, you know what I'm saying, you probably not getting top billing over the artists from Nashville or artists from Memphis or artists from Atlanta, for that matter, out the region. You're probably getting, you know, you're probably not getting all that you can get as far as connecting with the global audience. You know what I'm saying?
So what Radiator does is it's a geolocation application. So let's say you are hanging out in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you pull your phone out and you get on Radiator. It's going to pull all of the local artists from that area based on where you are and put their music into a playlist that you can stream like you would do on Spotify or Tidal or Apple Music or whatever it may be, you know. So it's our way of making sure we provide a platform for artists who do it themselves, artists who don't get that top billing. And me being from Grand Rapids, Michigan, I can tell you all about top billing and not getting those opportunities because a lot of artists from Grand Rapids don't get the same exposure as the artists from Detroit or Chicago for that matter. You know what I'm saying? So Radiator is all about using a high-tech application to pull all of those independent artists and putting them in the forefront. You know, we also launched a media platform. It's called Radiator Aux that we're going to put in motion to interview artists and let them talk about their art, their albums, and their songs and their features and things of that nature. Because a lot of artists, if you're not on a major label or you might not got the resources to promote yourself on those kind of levels, they get overlooked. But it's probably more artists that's in that predicament than there are artists who are like major labels or major, you know, representation. So we're trying to just make sure we, you know, democratize access to music. Even for the listeners, you might not be an artist. You might want to hear some cool shit. When you traveling, you might be in Denver, Colorado on business, and you want to see who's the hot artists out here right now. Pull up Radiator. All of the hot artists, and it's not just hip-hop either. So it's hip-hop, all genres, blues, jazz, folk, rock, alternative, R&B, whatever it may be, gospel music, all the above. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of artists who could benefit, you know, from what we're doing with Radiator, you know.
Oh, that's so dope that you care enough to, you know, do something for other artists. You know, that's genius.
It's a multi-million-dollar tech platform. So the technology that went into it, you know, the time and effort that went into it, it's definitely a big investment for me. But it's going to do a lot for a lot of artists that come from my situation, artists who need that exposure and need them platforms. So I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. So I want to say you have the rapper Currency also as a feature on your song Brewster Millions. And a lot of people that I've talked to so far, they love working with Currency. What is it about Currency that draws people to him?
He's a genuine guy. He's a good guy, man. Good energy. That's my boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, him and I were in the same space trying to come up. He was coming off the Young Money situation, and I was coming off the affiliate situation. You know what I'm saying? And we did some work together, and we've been working here and there, you know what I'm saying, throughout the time that we kept in touch. And that's my bro. I reached out to him. He said, I got you, bro, and made it happen. He's a good guy. Anybody who knows Currency knows he's a good guy. He's a fun guy. So, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a workhorse, too, because I'm telling you, he like on a lot of people's stuff all the time. Like,
you got to be.
Do you do a business with wines? Because I'm always seeing you with a bottle.
A business with what?
Do you have like a wine business? Because I always see you with a bottle.
Well, technically I have a spirits company. It's called Motu Vijay Spirits, and we produce and market our own line of adult beverages. Our first was champagne called Motu Vijay, and it's a joint venture that we did with St. Julian. St. Julian Winery is the biggest winery in the state of Michigan. Their heritage goes all the way back to Al Capone and Prohibition days. You know what I'm saying? So we got with the guy at St. Julian, and we partnered up on a brew. It's called Motu Vijay Brew, and you can cop it online at motuvijayspirits.com. So we're in 200 locations right now in the Midwest. We just signed a very lucrative deal with a Fortune 500 company, one of the biggest grocers. No, not one, the biggest grocer in the Midwest area right now. So if you're from the South and you know like Publix, we signed with the Publix of the Midwest, and we got our product in 60 locations in the Midwest right now. That's just the brew. We also have a vodka as well that we did with Long Road Distillers. That's a Michigan-based distillery, and that's in about 100 locations right now throughout the state of Michigan. And we're excited, man. You know, we're really excited about what the future may hold for what we're doing. Spent a lot of money on champagne, popping bottles, and doing things for the rap shit, but I'm had to do my own. You know what I'm saying? Do my own. I got a strong team with me. Shout out to my boy Jonathan Jokes, my man Jamil Robinson, Super Dre. You know, I got a strong team, man. We moving.
Well, I know you be in New York every so often, so don't forget to hit your girl up and buy me a bottle. And I really appreciate that.
I'm gonna tell when we get off the call, just DM me your address. I have my people send you some bottles. We'll send something your way.
Oh yes, thank you, sexy chocolate. I appreciate that.
No, we got you. No worries. We got you. We'll hold you down. Don't worry.
Look, well, I'm about to ask you a question, and hopefully I can still get my bottle. And I'm only bringing this up because it was one of the most ruthless G checks in hip hop history. Now, you also had Action Bronson on one of your songs, Court Fee, right?
Yeah.
Action Bronson is a white rapper, and you know, 5 years ago he kind of got in a little beef with Ghostface from Wu-Tang because Ghostface. Yeah, you remember that?
Nah, man. What happened?
Well, Ghostface. It was funny as hell. And I like Action Bronson. He can rap, but Ghostface had got his.
Action, my boy. That's my boy. I love Action Bronson. That's my guy.
Yeah. He was he got his ass about sounding like him. He said he actually said he wanted to burn his beard, and he was like, "You sound like me. You stole my style or whatever." So that's why I just wanted to ask you, what was it about Action that made you respect him or want to work with him?
I never heard nothing about Action and Ghostface having no issues. That's crazy. It's my first time hearing about that. But Action is my boy, man. Like me and Action, they've been rolling for a long time. Action, contributed to my album I did with the Alchemist called Masterpiece Theater. When I was recording that album, Action Bronson was sitting right there in the room with me most of the time. You know what I'm saying? That's my dude. So when I reached out to him to get on Capital Gains, no problem. We just did it. That's my dude.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with that. I just had to ask you about that because that was a big thing a while ago. So, hey.
Yeah, I missed that. That's crazy.
What do you think about white rappers in hip hop? You think it's a place for them? Like, how do you think they're faring right now in the game?
It's a place for everybody. It's like asking somebody what's a place for a black director in Hollywood. It's a place for everybody. But this is art, man. This is an art form. Hip hop is an art form, just like movies, just like anything else, like paintings, like anything else. When we start putting in geography, start putting in race into art, now you're just being restrictive for no reason. You know what I'm saying? There's a place for everybody. There's a place for black golf players and black tennis players. You know what I'm saying? There's a place for everybody everywhere. We ain't getting into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody can get busy. It's all about you good. If you have talent or not. You have work ethic or not. That's what it boils down to. The color of your skin ain't got nothing to do with art.
Okay, I just wanted to hear what you thought, because with me, I feel the same way about art, but then it's just one part of me that's like, when it comes to black people allowing other people in our culture, sometimes they can be mediocre in places that we cannot. And
right.
I'm not saying anybody is mediocre, but I'm just saying a lot of times when white people start doing what we've been notorious for, or that we started, they somehow become the best of it, or people want to try to crown them. And I'm just like, how you gonna crown them when we the one who mastered the whole art? Like, that's crazy to me. But
black people need to get in front of the dollar and get from behind the color. Black people need to get behind the dollar. As long as you can make what it is you do lucrative for what you got going on, that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? You can't be standing on the wrong side of the dollar throwing stones at somebody because of the color of their skin. I thought we learned enough of that from our own experience. Get yourself up, empower yourself, empower your people, and move forward. Let's start there. You know what I'm saying? Because our culture, quote unquote, right? Mm-hmm. We're not even making all of the quote unquote, no pun intended, capital gains from the culture. We're not even making that. Let's position ourselves to own our music, own our content, own our podcast, own our movies, own our whatever it is we're creating. Let's focus on that instead of trying to out people because the color of their skin from the culture. I don't think that's the best way to move forward. I don't believe in that. I mean, if you want to get to that, we can get to that, but I don't think that's a bigger priority than making sure you own what the fuck it is you doing. You know what I'm saying? What you looking like?
Ownership is important. And I have to just say too, going back.
And if it's not ownership, just making sure whatever you're involved in is an opportunity for you to benefit, from what it is you're doing. I think our conversation should start more about economy and more about mobility than it is about race. You know what I'm saying? We're not in no position to be telling this white guy or this Mexican guy or this Asian guy he can't come and rap. Like, come on, man. We got bigger fish to fry. You know what I'm saying? Do you own your masters, brother? You know what I'm saying? Can you put music out whenever you feel like it, brother? You know what I'm saying? Are you paying somebody to record? Are you paying somebody to perform? Come on, brother. You know what I'm saying? How much of the proceeds from your art are you receiving every month, every 90 days? What's going on with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's start there. Let's own our masters and own our art and own our podcasts and own our movies and own our content and own our ideas. Let's start there. Let's build there before we start talking about race and who deserves to be able to rap and not. That's frivolous.
Well, it's and I just want to just say too, back to that whole Ghostface thing, he did say that it wasn't a white or black thing, just to let everybody know that it was just some personal shit. But just to move forward, just to wrap up this whole piece about your album, is that the vibe that you were trying to give us with that whole project?
Capital Games? Capital Games was me telling everybody, wake up, wake the fuck up. Because the bottom line, even like COVID, right? It's all about the money, end of the day, right? Nobody, they say it's about health and wellness, yeah. But you start to see things go up through Congress and the Senate and go to the White House and hit the news and shit like that because it starts affecting the money. End of the day, it's all about the money, no matter what they tell you. So I was just trying to tell the people who listen to my music, whether you white, black, or whatever, get your issue together. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, that's what it's all about. Economic freedom, financial literacy. That's what it's about. Because the people who advance are the people who have a greater understanding of that than the people who don't.
Awesome. I just want to bring up the fact that you are also an executive producer. You're working with PBS on a documentary called I Too Sing America, Langston Hughes Unfolded. It's part of the PBS American Master Series. The documentary goes in detail about Langston's life and how he gained notoriety during the Harlem Renaissance as a writer and activist.
Yeah.
And so how was it? So what is it about Langston Hughes, first of all, that we need to know about his story? Like, why is that important?
Yeah, Langston Hughes, he's a laureate. He's a poet. He was the voice and the face for the Harlem Renaissance. So black art cut its teeth with Langston Hughes' material. You know what I'm saying? So me being a writer myself, I consider myself a poet of sorts as well. It's an inspiration and it's an honor to be able to cover his biography and cover his life and his contributions to art and to the culture. He's a guy from the Midwest like myself who moved to New York City and became the forefront of the black voice. So the black experience was never expressed in poetry the way it was through Langston Hughes. You know what I'm saying? So for me to be linking up with his estate and his top biographers and my team, my boy Jonathan Jelks, his father, Dr. Randall Jelks, PBS, it's just all about bringing his story to the forefront. There's a lot of different documentaries and movies and excerpts about a lot of our black heroes and our black artists, but Langston Hughes never got the credit, I believe, that he deserved. He was the original rapper, if you want to really break it down. He was one of the first rappers because he's telling a story. He's telling the narrative about what's going on in the ghetto, about what's going on in our experience. And the words that he's using, they're rhyming. So to me, that's a rapper. Langston Hughes is probably the first rapper, in my opinion. So it's good for me to just tip my hat and, pay homage to him,
And I know also in his time, a lot of the white critics wouldn't give him his proper due. So, back in that era, he just really was just trying to fight for the respect that he deserved.
They probably wouldn't give anybody their proper due, you know what I'm saying, at that time because of race relations that was going on and everything. They probably wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? But, all I know is one thing about history is you can't undo it. You know what I'm saying? And what he did for the culture, what he did for the black experience, what he did for art, I'm honored to be somebody to, put that in a capsule and seal that and put that in front of the world. That should be here forever.
I just want to say too, you're working with an Oscar-nominated screenwriter, Kevin Wilmot is the co-director, and Wilmot is best known
I
for.
nominated him. He's a winner. Not nominated. He won an
Oh,
Oscar.
excuse me. Okay, fact check. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Okay, so he won an Oscar.
Yeah.
He's best known for co-writing Spike Lee's Black Klansman and Chirac. And then you have Madison Lacey, a 4-time Emmy Award winning producer director, is the co-director on this project. So
Right.
how does it feel to work alongside those caliber of people?
It's exciting. You know, they bring their talents and their expertise to the table, and I'm gonna bring my connectivity with the culture to the table, and my passion for what it is what I believe people need to see to the table. We're making history, man. This is a great thing. I'm inspired. I'm excited. I can't wait for y'all to see this. This is great.
So it's supposed to be released this fall?
Yeah, but you know the COVID hit, so we couldn't get all the footage and get all the shit we wanted to do. You know, it is what it is. We're still putting it together, so hopefully it'll be released as soon as possible next year. We're producing. We're putting everything together right now. We got some major partnerships that we're going to announce really soon. It's going to help us also get a little bit further through the process. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's so dope. I'm so glad I got to ask you about that because I love learning more about Black history and spreading that.
Yes, ma'am.
So has COVID changed the way you've been able to move as a businessman? Since we kind of just touched on that, or as an artist, do you feel like it's an advantage to this time right now, or?
Yeah, it's an advantage and it's a disadvantage. It depends on how you maneuver. You know, it's up and it's down at the same time. You know.
All right. One little question, not to get on anything scandalous, but what's your opinion about artists making OnlyFans pages? You know about those?
Get it how you live, baby. Get it how you live. That's all I can say.
Are we gonna see a Willie the Kid OnlyFans?
You probably won't. Probably won't. You know what I'm saying? You probably won't.
they making a lot of money on those things, man. But
sure.
like you said, you ain't trying to do any and everything out here, so hey.
I wouldn't recommend it for just any old body, but you know, to each his own. For some people, that's a good idea. Let's be clear. For some people, that's a great idea. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the kind of life you was living prior to, it's not that far. It's not that big of a jump to get into that. It might be a hop, skip, and a jump for you to get into that. That might be right next door to what you do. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Look, are you a guy? It seems like I look at your pages. You got a lot of nice suits. Are you into just dressing? Are you into fashion, or like where you get your fashion sense from? Like what's going on with that?
I just rise to the occasion. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fashion designer of sorts, but you know, I design merchandise and I put on what feels comfortable. You know, that's all.
All right. So look, I'm gonna wrap this up shortly, but I want to know: is there any projects, anything else we should be looking out from Willie the Kid coming soon, or?
Yeah, I encourage everybody to go online right now and purchase Motivij Brute. You know what I'm saying? From motivjspirits.com. And I encourage everybody to go on to shopgrusa.com and purchase these joints right here. These macro joints is fire. You know what I'm saying? We resurrecting the CBA league right now for the Midwest. If you're from the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. All the Midwest cities, secondary Midwest cities in the region all had a CBA team. So make sure you go support that. We rolling them out right now. And then, of course, man, Radiator, really excited about that. I'm really excited about letting a lot of independent artists, grassroots artists, beginning artists get their fair shake in this media world, get their fair shake in these streams, get their fair shake and bring some money home to their families. I'm really excited about empowering other artists coming from that independent space. You know what I'm saying? So definitely be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, look out for Langston Hughes Unfurled. We'll announce some real partnerships that we got going on with that. We kind of putting the steroids on this one. It's going to be a real big opportunity for everybody to see the story and hear the legacy of, you know, one of America's greatest poets, one of the loudest voices of the African American experience. So, yeah, just be on the lookout, man. Be on the lookout.
And make sure you guys also follow me on my page. Follow Kera Dangerous Talk on YouTube and on Anchor Podcast and also Spotify. Just type Kera Dangerous Talk into all the outlets and something to come up. Oh, people talking about they can listen to you all day. Okay. All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank
Y'all
you.
get off my booth. No, I'm just playing. But
That's crazy.
Willie, I thank you so much for joining me. You such a well-rounded person. Your music is dope. I hope more people check it out. You definitely a poet with your music. It got a different, like it's an old school sound, but it's a different sound. Because I'm telling you, it just sounds like you never gonna stop flowing on your tracks.
Never.
You know, I really like listening to it. I really appreciate you. If y'all learned anything today, is to get y'all business in order. You can do multiple things. Look at what Willie's doing. He didn't let anything stop him. You know, he went to school. He doing the business thing. He doing the rapping thing, and he just grinding. So thank you so much, sir.
Salute, salute. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody tuning in. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Okay, you be blessed, brother.
You too. Thank you, my lady.
Peace.
All right, peace.